Have you ever seen a Disney movie where children are tricked into leaving home, turned into animals, and sold into slavery, crying out as they lose their voices, their faces change, and they realize they're never going home again? Because that's not an exaggeration. That actually happened. And it's not from some obscure lost film. It's from one of Disney's most famous classics. And believe it or not, that's just level 1 of the iceberg. Disney is supposed to be fun, right? Happy songs, talking animals, magical endings. But buried beneath the magic are scenes of death, madness, and controversy so dark they make you question if Disney was ever meant for kids at all. This is the most disturbing Disney movie, Iceberg. 7 levels of movies and moments that made fans uncomfortable, scared, or completely horrified. The deeper we go, the more disturbing it gets. Pinocchio, Pleasure Island, 1940. A group of boys are tricked into drinking and smoking. Then, one by one, they slowly turn into donkeys. Their bodies stretch. Their voices turn into painful screams. One boy begs for his mom as he's dragged away in a cage, but never returns. The coachman escapes unpunished, making the fear feel permanent, like the story never truly stops. And the scariest part is, no one saves the kids. No one stops the bad guy. The coachman, with his creepy smile, disappears and gets away with everything while the boys are left trapped and scared. This will leave kids who are watching feeling the fear of lost and forgotten, and knowing at the end of the day no one will ever come to help. From cages and screams to snow and silence, Disney didn't slow down. One moment, you're trapped forever. The next, your mother is gone. Bambi, the death of his mother, 1942. It happens fast. A quiet moment in the snow. A gunshot. Bambi calls out for her. She's gone. There's no music, no comfort, just silence and shock. Psychologically, this moment hits children like a brick. It's a sudden, unexplained loss. The idea that a parent can vanish without warning, without goodbye. The forest, once beautiful, turns into a place of fear. For many young viewers, this is their first introduction to death. And it doesn't come with answers. If Bambi taught children that death can come without warning, the Black Cauldron taught them something even darker. That sometimes death isn't the end. Sometimes it gets back up. The Black Cauldron, 1985. A villain raises an army of skeletons from a bubbling pot of death. The corpses scream as they rise. Some still have skin peeling from their bones. The original cut was so disturbing, Disney sliced entire scenes just to avoid traumatizing children. Disney even purposely buried this film after critics called its eerie atmosphere too adult. Disney cut many of the worst parts, like close-up shots of bodies tearing apart, because test audiences, especially kids, were too disturbed. But even the final version feels cold and empty. There's no hope in the story, no joy, just silence, fog, and the fear that evil might win. What makes it so psychologically disturbing is the feeling that nothing can stop the darkness. The heroes are powerless. The villain doesn't just want to win, he wants to erase life itself. The Black Cauldron showed us what happens when death refuses to stay dead. But what comes next isn't just death. It's something far more terrifying. Level 1 only showed us fear in the world we know. In Level 2, there are something far stranger and far older. Because Disney didn't stop at sadness and death, they opened the door to something else entirely. Demons, shadows, and dark gods that smile while you sleep. Level 2, Scenes you can't believe Disney approved. Fantasia, Night on Bald Mountain, 1940. A massive demon named Churabog wakes up on a mountain. He opens his wings, calls spirits from their graves, and throws souls into fire. There are ghostly women dancing without clothes, screaming skeletons and no dialogue, just horror set to music. Unfiltered Satanism in a 1940s film. Walt Disney gave it the green light, and it shocked audiences who were used to more traditional, family-friendly stories. This isn't just scary because of what we see, it's what we feel. The loss of control, the idea that dark forces are always there, watching, waiting, enjoying our fear. It ends not with the hero winning, but with Dawn slowly chasing the demon away. Like evil never really dies. It just always exists. Fantasia ends with demons fading at sunset, but the fear never really ends. It just hides, waiting for a quieter, more personal place to return. Because the next nightmare doesn't come from the outside. It comes from inside your mind. Return to Oz, 1985. Dorothy is sent to a mental hospital. They tie her to a bed and prepare to shock her brain with electricity. She escapes into a nightmare land filled with people with screaming, spinning wheels for hands. There's also a witch who keeps a collection of living, blinking heads. And somehow, Disney looked at this and said, "Perfect, for kids." But everything feels wrong, unsafe, and unfamiliar. It's like watching a child fall into a mental breakdown. The movie doesn't just scare you with monsters. It scares you with isolation, helplessness, and the idea that no adult believes or protects you. It's a panic dream you can't wake up from. Return to Oz traps a child in a world that doesn't believe her, where even her thoughts are punished. But the black hole goes one step darker. It asks, what if your mind was stolen, your voice erased, and no one ever knew you were still alive? Because after the nightmare comes something worse, a torture that lasts forever. The Black Hole, 1979. The film starts as a space mission, but ends in something far closer to a nightmare. The villain, Dr. Reinhardt, isn't loud or violent. He's cool, calm, and speaks with quiet control. That's what makes him so scary. He's a man who believes he's a god. He commands robot servants who never speak, never blink, and we learn later they aren't robots at all. They're people. His own crew, brain dead, mutilated, trapped in suits, forced to serve him in silence forever.
What are you doing?
For kids, this is deeply disturbing. The idea that you could lose your mind, your body, and your voice, but still be alive, forced to keep moving, is pure existential horror. It teaches children that not all evil is loud and messy. Sometimes it's quiet, patient, and unstoppable. It also tells them that bad people sometimes get what they want in the worst way, and that punishment doesn't always mean death. Sometimes it means being awake forever, inside a body that no longer feels human. In these stories, evil isn't defeated. It waits in the shadows, creeps into your mind, and steals your body while you're still inside it. Level 3 is even worse, because now the darkness doesn't just haunt you, they bury you. And when something is buried, it doesn't die. It waits, forgotten by Disney, forgotten by everyone, until now. Level 3, buried, forgotten, or quietly censored. The Watcher in the Woods, 1980. Marketed as a supernatural mystery, this film plays more like a quiet breakdown. A teenage girl moves into a house surrounded by mirrors, woods, and whispers. She sees reflections that aren't hers. Lights flicker when no one's home. Her sister disappears, but no one believes her. The original ending, later changed, showed a giant alien being floating in another dimension, surrounded by lightning and glass. It looked like it came from a nightmare, not a science fiction film. Even though Disney tried to soften it, the emotional damage was done. This movie unsettles not with jump scares, but with emotional isolation. A teenage girl starts noticing strange things: flickering lights, missing people, reflections that don't match. But when she tells the adults, they dismiss her. She's left alone to question her own sanity. For young viewers, this creates a dangerous internal message. Your fear might be real, but no one will believe you. It teaches them to doubt their own instincts and worry that adults, even loved ones, might ignore them when it matters. This isolation can grow into anxiety, self-censorship, and fear of speaking up. In this movie, the horror comes from feeling unheard, unseen, and slowly questioning your own reality. The next one doesn't just silence pain, it replaces it with a smile. And when a story rewrites suffering as something sweet, the damage doesn't just hurt feelings. It reshapes truth and teaches kids to forget who really suffered. Song of the South, 1946. This movie shows life on a plantation, but makes it look happy and peaceful. Black characters sing songs while working in the fields. A nostalgic, racialized portrayal of plantation life, dripping with offensive stereotypes. It completely ignores the cruelty of slavery. This film isn't disturbing because of monsters or violence. It's disturbing because of what it teaches by leaving things out. It presents a world where racism, inequality, and slavery-era suffering simply doesn't exist. Black characters sing, serve, and smile. There is no conflict, no injustice. For children, especially white children, it teaches that slavery wasn't really that bad, and that people who suffered through it were content, even joyful. It shapes values, blunting empathy and reinforcing ignorance. Meanwhile, Black children watching this see something even more damaging: themselves as passive, background figures, only there to entertain or support someone else's story. That's why Disney won't release it anymore. Not because it's outdated, but because it was always dangerous for kids. If Song of the South is disturbing because of what it hides, The Three Caballeros is disturbing because of what it refuses to control. One lies about the past, the other loses its mind in the present. The Three Caballeros, 1944. At first, this film looks like a fun travel adventure. Donald Duck visits Latin America with two bird friends, dancing and singing along the way. But halfway through, something changes, and it becomes a chaotic, surreal experience. Donald starts chasing women, possession, and pressure in a fun package. It teaches kids, especially boys, that chasing someone who says no is funny, that pushing too far is okay. And it tells young viewers that if things start to feel crazy or wrong, don't expect the story to fix itself. First, Disney made kids question their own fear. Then, it taught them to smile through someone else's pain. And finally, it spins reality so fast, no one could tell right from wrong. But if these movies messed with what you saw, what comes next on Level 4 messes with what you feel. They get inside your head and mess with your sanity. Level 4. Disturbing on a psychological level. The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Hellfire, 1996. In this scene, a powerful judge named Frollo sings about a woman named Esmeralda. He says he wants her, but also believes she's evil. He tells God that if she won't love him, she should burn in fire. As he sings, fire and shadows surround him. Esmeralda appears in the flames, dancing, screaming, melting. Frollo blames her for the feelings he has and begs God to destroy her so he doesn't have to feel shame or desire. This moment is terrifying for kids, but also confusing. Frollo is supposed to be a man of faith, someone who represents law and goodness. Instead, he uses religion to justify hate. He believes hurting someone is okay if they make him feel something he doesn't understand. This can plant very dark ideas in young minds, especially around guilt, control, and desire. A child may start different, like Esmeralda, can make people want to hurt you. And it might not be your fault, but you still pay the price. As goodness. In Dumbo, the danger comes with a smile, a drink, and silence. But no one helps. No one hears him. It's not just fear, it's madness, and he's too small to even name it. Dumbo, the Pink Elephants, 1941. In this scene, Dumbo accidentally drinks water mixed with alcohol. He's just a baby elephant, small, innocent, and confused. Soon after, he starts seeing things that aren't real. Strange music plays. Pink elephants appear out of nowhere. They dance, grow faces on their stomachs, twist into other shapes, scream, stretch, and explode. The colors change fast, the movements get scary, and the elephants never stop staring. What makes this scene so disturbing isn't just how weird or creepy it looks. It's that Dumbo is drunk, and no one around him notices or helps. Even worse, Dumbo has no voice. He can't ask for help, explain how he feels, or stop what's happening. It reflects a fear many children have, not being understood when something feels wrong inside their mind. This can affect how kids see emotions, fear, and being overwhelmed. They might feel like scary feelings don't matter, or that adults won't take them seriously when something is truly wrong. It's not just a silly dream. It's a full-on breakdown in a baby's mind, and everyone laughs or ignores it. That's what makes it so deeply unsettling. Dumbo shows us what it feels like to lose your mind and have no one notice. But even worse than being unheard is being ignored. In Sleepy Hollow, it is just a complete nightmare. No colors, just black trees, wind, and a monster that never speaks. And when it's over, no one saves you. No one even looks for you. You just vanish. Ichabod's Final Chase, Legend of Sleepy Hollow. This isn't just a scary moment. It's pure panic wrapped in cartoon form. The forest is pitch black. The wind howls like it's alive, and Ichabod, a nervous school teacher, is alone. Then the headless horseman arrives, silent, massive, and riding a black horse that barely touches the ground. He carries a glowing pumpkin, burning from the inside. There's no safe space. The chase is long and drawn out, and Ichabod doesn't fight. He runs, begs, hides. And when the pumpkin is finally thrown, it explodes in fire, and the screen cuts to black. The next day, Ichabod is gone, vanished. There's no comforting explanation, no rescue, no clear ending. For children, this leaves a dark mark, the idea that you can do everything right and still disappear. That bad things can happen for no reason and the world won't notice is deeply disturbing for a child's sense of safety. It creates a quiet dread that being good or careful doesn't matter, and that danger doesn't need a reason. Level 4 showed us the slow collapse of safety, when desire becomes a weapon, when fear goes unheard, and when doing everything right still gets you destroyed. But now, we leave the shadows of the mind behind, because Level 5 doesn't just disturb you psychologically, it is real torture. Here, Disney's darkness becomes physical, real pain, real death, and sometimes it wasn't even fake. Level 5, censored, banned, or quietly changed. White Wilderness, the lemming suicide scene, 1958. In this Disney nature documentary, there's a famous scene showing lemmings, small furry animals, running toward a cliff and jumping off together. The narrator says it's natural, that lemmings do this to control their population. But that's not true. Lemmings don't jump off cliffs. That idea is a myth. So how did Disney get the footage? They faked it. Behind the scenes, the film crew bought lemmings from children in a different part of Canada. Then they built a fake Arctic set and placed the animals on a spinning platform to confuse them. When they were done filming the migration, they physically pushed the lemmings off the cliff into water and filmed them drowning. Real animals, terrified, forced into panic, and killed, all for a scene that would look good in a movie. This is deeply disturbing. Disney was supposed to be showing nature, something real. Instead, they created a lie built on cruelty. It teaches kids that truth doesn't matter if the story looks exciting. It also normalizes the suffering of animals, as if pain is okay if it's behind the camera. The worst part? This was passed off as education. Children trusted what they saw, and many grew up believing this false idea about nature, never knowing that they had watched innocent creatures die on purpose just to make a fake story feel dramatic. White Wilderness might have shown faked nature by forcing innocent animals to die and called it education. But the next movie takes that lie even further. Because what happens when the thing that hurts you smiles back? When fun turns to fear and it haunts you. Something Wicked This Way Comes, 1984. This movie shows a small town where a strange carnival arrives. But it's not just games and rides. It steals people's deepest fears and uses them to trap their souls. Kids go missing. Adults get pulled into terrifying dreams. And it all looks like magic until it turns into horror. One of the most disturbing scenes shows a young boy watching his best friend age rapidly. His skin wrinkles, his back bends, and within seconds, he becomes an old man and dies. Another part has mirrors showing people their worst fears. Lost time, broken families, or guilt that never goes away. A girl is hunted and killed by shadows. A boy is nearly taken too, his soul nearly pulled from his body by laughter and darkness. This movie may have no blood, but it's deeply psychological. It's about fear you can't escape, how evil can hide behind things that seem fun. For kids, this creates confusion and lasting discomfort. What if someone is watching you? What if your worst thoughts could trap you forever? It teaches children something frightening, that danger doesn't always look scary. Sometimes, it looks like a smiling face at a carnival booth. And if you're not careful, it might take something from you that never comes back. From an exciting carnival, it turns into the worst nightmares that children could ever dream of. Because what happened next wasn't a demon or a monster. It was a real nude photo buried inside a film for children. And the people who put it there, they made sure you wouldn't notice until it was too late. The Rescuers, 1977. background nudity. In what became one of Disney's most infamous controversies, The Rescuers features two blink and you'll miss it frames showing a real photograph of a topless woman pasted into a background apartment window as the characters fly past. The image isn't animated. It's an actual nude photo inserted into a children's film, likely by a rogue animator. It went completely unnoticed during the film's theatrical release, but when the movie was transferred to VHS and could be paused and slowed down, families discovered it right there in a movie marketed directly to kids. This scene is deeply confusing and inappropriate. They trust Disney movies to be safe, something they can enjoy with parents. But this scene breaks that trust. Without knowing it, children were exposed to adult content snuck in by someone working behind the scenes. The photo wasn't just a random accident. It felt like a secret message, something added on purpose, hidden in plain sight. The fallout was immediate. Disney recalled 3.4 million tapes from shelves in what became one of the biggest censorship cleanups in the company's history. Level 5 shattered the illusion of safety, where innocent animals died for fake stories, and real adult content was hidden inside cartoons for children. But now, we go deeper. Because the next level doesn't just disturb children, they reshape them. These are the stories that twist what's normal, break what's innocent, and quietly change the way a child sees the world. Forever. Level 6. Deleted scenes and real death on camera. The brave little toaster, the junkyard. Cars and machines are crushed alive while singing about their past lives. One car accepts death and sings a goodbye before being smashed. The toaster almost dies too. The real draft included someone getting torn apart by a farm machine. Pure horror in a kid's movie. In the movie's earlier draft, things were even darker. One scene had a person being torn apart by a farming machine. It was cut, but the tone of death and hopelessness stayed. For children, this scene hits in a strange, personal way. These aren't villains being punished. These are innocent, emotional characters who just want to be loved again. Watching them get destroyed teaches something scary. Even if you have a soul, even if you have feelings, you can still be thrown away. It builds a fear of being forgotten, a fear that one day you'll stop being useful and no one will care. The brave little toaster, where machines feel pain. They want to live and cry out for help. The next movie takes all of that away. No words, no comfort, just a real animal running for its life and dying while the camera watches. No one helps and cares. It's real, and Disney let it happen. The Vanishing Prairie, Bison Hunt Scene, 1954. In one of Disney's most unsettling documentary moments, The Vanishing Prairie shows a real bison being hunted and killed on camera. Not simulated, not staged. The animal runs in fear, chased down by unseen hunters. The camera doesn't cut away. Instead, it lingers as the bison slows, stumbles, and finally collapses in the grass. Its breathing labored, eyes wide, body twitching. There's no narration explaining what's happening. No moral or lesson. Just an unflinching view of a real animal dying slowly and painfully. This scene is more than sad, it's traumatic. It teaches that life can end suddenly, painfully, and without meaning. There's no rescue. There's no justice. Just death in silence. And because it comes from Disney, a name children trust, it confuses the line between comfort and cruelty. It can leave kids feeling unsafe, unsure what's real anymore. Disney even shows something like this without warning. What else could the world be hiding behind happy music and smiles? It's not just disturbing, it's emotionally scarring. In The Vanishing Prairie, Disney didn't hide the suffering, they filmed it. A real animal, running for its life, slowly dying while no one stepped in. But watch out for what comes next, because something even darker, not just the pain itself, but the people behind it. Not survival, not instinct, just humans choosing to hurt. The Rescuers Down Under, deleted poaching scene, 1990. Original versions had violent scenes of animals screaming, bleeding, and being captured in traps. Animators pushed for sequences depicting bird abuse and caged animals tortured by poachers. Some artists were angry because they wanted to show how cruel poaching is. But Disney cut the scenes, not because they weren't true, but because they were too real. And that's what makes it so disturbing. Behind the bright colors and animal sidekicks, this film almost showed kids the truth. That animals can suffer, scream, and die at the hands of humans. If it had made it into the final movie, children might have been left feeling terrified, powerless, even guilty, watching innocent creatures suffer while no one helped. Even though those scenes were deleted, their existence shows that Disney once considered showing real-world pain to young audiences. And that decision, to hide it or to reveal it, says everything about how thin the line can be between a family film and a worst nightmare. At this level, Disney showed us something we weren't ready for. Machines with feelings crushed like trash. Real animals dying slowly. Hidden scenes of pain that were too honest, too real. And the scariest part? These weren't stories anymore. They were truths, quietly buried. But on level 7, you'll witness when things you were never meant to see still exist. Still hiding, deeper down, waiting to be found. Level 7. You were never meant to see this. Aladdin, The Whisper, 1992. In the original 1992 VHS release of Aladdin, there's a moment during a nightmare balcony scene where Aladdin quietly mumbles something under his breath. When played at regular speed, it sounds like background chatter. But when slowed down, many viewers clearly heard the phrase, "Good teenagers, take off your clothes." It wasn't just a rumor. People across the country reported hearing the same thing. Parents were furious, accusing Disney of sneaking subliminal, sexually suggestive content into a children's movie. Why is it so disturbing? Because it crosses a dangerous line. When children hear things like this, especially buried in something they're supposed to trust, it confuses their sense of safety. It mixes fantasy with manipulation. If Disney, the safe place, can sneak in a sexual whisper, what else could be hiding in plain sight? Disney later said it was just a misunderstanding, but they quietly removed the line from future versions, without ever fully explaining what happened. Aladdin showed that the danger was hidden in a whisper, soft, strange, and buried beneath the magic. But what if the next horror was an entire film reel? A lost story so violent, so horrifying that Disney didn't just hide it, they erased it. That's where we're going next. Not a moment you might have missed, but a nightmare they made sure you'd never see. Make Mine Magic, the lost segment. According to multiple former animators and historians, there are persistent rumors that Make Mine Magic originally included a now lost war segment, one far darker than anything Disney has ever made. Allegedly, it showed graphic wartime violence, bombs leveling towns, civilians screaming in fire, and even a brief scene of an execution-style shooting, all presented in Disney classic animation style. No footage has ever surfaced, and Disney has never officially confirmed the segment's existence. But production notes, internal memos, and censored documents suggest something real was cut, something considered too brutal, even for wartime propaganda. That's what made it worse. The horror didn't look scary. It looked beautiful, cartoonish, like a fairy tale turned inside out. Imagine a child watching dancing animals, then suddenly seeing a man fall to his knees and get shot in the head. Even if that footage was never meant for release, the idea that it was animated at all shows how far Disney might have been willing to go, blending real-world death with childhood fantasy. Disney has never confirmed the segment existed, but production memos, missing reels, and old film canisters with removed labels suggest something was buried. That segment was buried by Disney because the violence was so extreme. But in the next movie, the horror is hidden in plain sight, where a cartoon mouse is slowly taking off her clothes while drunk rats cheer her on. It feels just as wrong because this time, the danger wasn't cut. It was intentional for children to see. The Great Mouse Detective, 1986, bar scene striptease. In The Great Mouse Detective, a movie aimed at kids and marketed as a Sherlock Holmes-style adventure with talking animals, there's a moment that still shocks people who catch it. A full-on striptease sequence performed by a female mouse in a smoky underground bar. The setting is dark and adult, filled with drunken rats, gambling, and pornographic characters. The performer, Miss Kitty Mouse, dances on stage in a revealing outfit, singing seductive lyrics while slowly removing pieces of her clothing. The male crowd cheers and throws money. One character even shouts, "Oh, baby," while nearly falling off his chair in excitement. It's not subtle. It's not family-friendly. For children watching, the scene is frankly inappropriate. It sexualizes a character in a film full of talking toys, sidekicks, and detective hijinks. Kids may not understand what's happening, but they feel it. The shift in tone, the adult gaze, the laughter from the grown-ups. It plants the idea that women are meant to be watched and admired when they perform. Disney never removed this scene. They never edited it or addressed it. It's still in the movie, unchanged. A quiet reminder that even safe films can carry adult ideas that kids aren't ready for. And when those moments go unquestioned, they stay in young minds longer than anyone expects. They whispered to kids about taking off their clothes. They drew war like it was a bedtime story. They let a cartoon mouse strip for drunks while children watched and laughed. These weren't mistakes, these were decisions. And that's what makes it worse. Because if this is what Disney let slip through, what did they actually hide? Disney might be known for dreams and fairy tales, but if you look closer, you'll find nightmares hidden just beneath the surface. Want more disturbing iceberg breakdowns? Check out our other videos on creepy cartoons, lost media, and the weirdest things ever aired for kids. And remember, when a movie tells you it's for children, watch carefully.